How good was Bruce Lee, really? Most people would immediately say he was the best fighter ever. One punch, and his opponent goes down. But what if Bruce Lee couldn't land a hit? What if his opponent wasn't the kind to stand still and wait for an attack, but someone who was always one step ahead, dodging before the strike even came? On one side, we have Bruce Lee, the living legend whose name is still talked about today. Fast, precise, and efficient. No unnecessary movements. His punches and kicks had insane power. Just one well-placed strike, and the fight could be over in seconds. On the other side, we have a capoeira master. He never stands still, never stays in one place for too long. He keeps moving, flowing like water, making it nearly impossible to predict his next move. It looks like a dance, but hidden within every motion is a trap. When will he strike? Where will the kick come from? That's what makes his opponents struggle. Bruce Lee's technique and capoeira are two completely different fighting styles. One relies on efficiency, precision, and direct attacks. The other plays with rhythm, deception, and agility to frustrate the opponent. If these two approaches clashed in a fight, who would have the upper hand? Could Bruce's speed and technique break through capoeira's defense? Or would capoeira disrupt Bruce's rhythm, making it hard for him to find an opening? Let's dive deeper. Bruce Lee's name is known far beyond just being a fighter. He was an actor, philosopher, and a true innovator in martial arts. But how did he become a legend? Born in 1940, Bruce grew up in an environment closely tied to the entertainment industry. His father, Lee Hoi Chun, was a Cantonese opera star, and Bruce himself had already acted in numerous films throughout his life. But acting wasn't the only thing that captured his interest. From a young age, Bruce was drawn to martial arts. At 13, he began learning Wing Chun directly from Ip Man, a legendary figure in Chinese martial arts. There he mastered the fundamentals of combat, speed, efficiency, and striking straight to an opponent's weak points. But what made Bruce different from other fighters was his endless curiosity. According to his biography, Bruce Lee, the incomparable fighter, he refused to be limited by just one fighting style. That's why he also studied boxing, and in 1958, he defeated a schoolmate to win his high school boxing tournament. That's when he realized something. No martial art is truly perfect. After moving to the United States, Bruce didn't just continue his studies at the University of Washington. He also started questioning everything. Why should martial arts have rigid rules? Why stick to just one style? Why not be flexible and adapt to any situation? These questions led him to create Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do wasn't just a martial art. It was a fighting philosophy. No fixed techniques, no memorized forms. The only thing that mattered was the outcome and defeating an opponent as quickly and efficiently as possible, with no wasted movement. Bruce believed that fighting wasn't about memorizing techniques. It was about reading an opponent and reacting faster than they could. And he didn't just talk about it, he backed it up with his own physical abilities. His 1-inch punch, powerful enough to send opponents flying several feet. His side kick, strong enough to launch 150-kilogram to 30-pound punching bag through the air. But here's something to remember, Bruce Lee wasn't without weaknesses. At only around 64 kg, 141 lbs, he wasn't the biggest or strongest fighter. That meant if his opponent had more endurance, and could survive his initial attacks, Bruce might be forced into a longer fight, something that wasn't necessarily his advantage. One of the most debated fights in his career was his 1964 match against Wong Jack Man. The details of that fight remain controversial to this day, but one thing is clear after that fight. Bruce became even more convinced that martial arts should always evolve and never be trapped in outdated traditions. The capoeira master now. Let's shift our focus to 16th century Brazil. At that time, African slaves brought to Brazil had no freedom, let alone the chance to learn how to fight, but they needed a way to survive. So, they disguised their combat training as dance music and acrobatic movements. And from this, capoeira was born. For those unfamiliar with it, capoeira might just look like a dance, but in reality, it's a mind game in the form of martial arts. Opponents are thrown off by the ever-changing rhythm and unpredictable movements. Attacks come from angles you'd never expect. A spinning kick can land before the opponent even realizes what's happening. But capoeira isn't just about attacking. It's about dodging, defending, and luring the opponent into a trap. When slavery was finally abolished in 1888, capoeira was banned for a time, considered too dangerous. But in the 1930s, a man named Mr. Bimba developed capoeira regional, a more structured and combat-focused version of the art. Different from the more traditional capoeira Angola, a capoeira master isn't just skilled in acrobatics or powerful kicks. They have rhythm, lightning-fast reflexes, and a strategy full of surprises. But like any martial art, capoeira has its weaknesses. Because it relies heavily on agility rather than direct strikes, capoeira fighters might struggle against opponents with solid defensive techniques, especially those who can read their movement patterns. In capoeira, becoming a master isn't about earning a belt. It's about how deeply you understand capoeira's philosophy and how many battles you fought inside the roda at capoeira's fight circle. If Bruce Lee had his famous duel in Oakland, a capoeira master has fought thousands of battles that were never recorded in history, yet each one shaped them into an extraordinary fighter. Bruce Lee is the capoeira master now. Imagine if this fight actually happened. Two completely different fighting styles clashing in the same arena. This duel isn't just about who's stronger. It's about who can read their opponent's game first. Bruce Lee has one major advantage: his insane speed. His movements were so explosive that even old-school cameras struggled to capture them clearly. His punches could strike in a fraction of a second, packing far more power than they seemed. If he landed a clean hit, the impact would be devastating. But here's the problem. Capoeira is a martial art built on dodging and agility. A capoeira master wouldn't stand still waiting to be hit, let alone trade punches in a direct fight. Instead, he would keep moving, shifting positions, and baiting his opponent into losing balance. Low spinning kicks, a mia, lua di compasso, lightning, fast roundhouse kicks, a martello. All of them could come from unexpected angles. If we're talking about raw power, Bruce clearly has the edge. The philosophy of Jeet Kune Do is simple: strike first, find an opening, and finish the fight before the opponent can react. With brutal front kicks, knockout hooks, and lightning-fast grappling techniques, Bruce is a nightmare for anyone in close combat. But capoeira plays a different game. Capoeira fighters rarely stay in one spot. Their system teaches them to keep moving. They don't follow predictable patterns. Instead, they lure their opponents in, dodging with esquiva, defensive evasion, and striking back at the most unexpected moment. The challenge: capoeira thrives in long fights. While Jeet Kune Do is designed to end fights as quickly as possible, capoeira is comfortable in a battle of endurance. In terms of strength and power, Bruce Lee is superior. His training was extreme. He could do two-finger push-ups. His breathing techniques made his strikes even more explosive. And his one-inch punch wasn't just a camera trick. It was a proven technique that could send opponents flying. But stamina, that's a different story. A capoeira master is trained to keep moving for minutes, even hours, without stopping. They can fight in a long, drawn-out rhythm, waiting for their opponent to tire out before launching a counterattack. The problem is, this strategy only works if they have space to move. If their opponent doesn't allow them to dance, a capoeira master could end up trapped in a bad position. So, who wins? If Bruce starts aggressively, reading his opponent before the capoeira master can establish a rhythm, the fight could be over in seconds. But if the capoeira master survives the initial attacks, keeps evading, and starts controlling the tempo, Bruce could find himself in trouble. In a longer fight, where endurance and agility play a bigger role, capoeira could start forcing Bruce into making mistakes. There's even a scenario where this fight becomes a long, strategic battle. Both fighters would hold back, reading each other, waiting for the first sign of weakness. At that point, it's no longer just a fight. It's a mental game. Who loses focus first? Who falls into their opponent's trap? If we had to choose a favorite, Bruce Lee would likely be the one to win. Jeet Kune Do is all about efficiency and direct attacks, making it deadly in a one-on-one fight. But that doesn't mean the capoeira master has no chance. If they can control the rhythm, maintain distance, and force Bruce to fight outside his comfort zone, they could make even a martial arts legend struggle. As Bruce Lee himself once said, "Be water, my friend."
Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
In a fight, it's not just about technique, it's about adaptation. Jeet Kune Do might have strategic flexibility, but Capoeira holds an element of surprise that could be a game changer in this battle. If this fight really happened, Bruce would likely be the favorite, but a smart Capoeira master could still turn the tables. In the end, this battle wouldn't just be about strength or speed. It would come down to who reads their opponent first and makes the right move at the right moment. So, what do you think? Would Bruce Lee's raw power and precision be enough to handle Capoeira's unpredictability? Or would the Capoeira master force Bruce into a fight he wasn't prepared for?